Hi, I am Asma El Andalusi, and I am the lead for the enterprise architectures in Lenovo Solution and Services. And today we will be speaking about architecture, women in architecture, and how to join in, as well how women actually can give even more value into the architecture. I'm going to be doing it in English, so I am sorry, my French is not that good, but I'm doing my best. Okay, so I move it with it.
Yeah.
Cool. So just to give you a little briefing about me, so I've been working for Lenovo as an enterprise architect for the last 7 years. Before that, I had my own enterprise company for consulting in everything cloud infrastructure and automation. And before that, I was working with VMware, some DevOps, long term ago. I am a droppee of a PhD, so not a PhD owner, I'm a droppee of PhD in AI. But what I'm doing is I'm trying to work on cloud, AI, and infrastructure, so everything that is trendy right now. So today we're going to be talking about those fields. We're going to a little bit analyze them. We're going to talk about how women can add more into those kind of fields, and also how the parallels, how some architecture actually can give us as well a good ladder. And it's not like the traditional way where a lot of people think that I need to be either to be a software architect, I need to be like a software developer for how many years, then go a software architect. There is so many type of architects. There is too many ways to get over there. And there is, even some types that can a little bit surprise that have nothing to do with technical stuff. And then we're gonna go into some case studies, like some actual projects that I worked on, and how architecture and how we took them from a prospect or just a talk with the customer into qualification, into building the architecture, into actually having it in production. Okay, so here today you can, okay, can we see? Oh, I'm gonna bring all the stats first. Okay. Okay, so we can say here. So the field itself is very moving. Those stats are from 2019 to 2015, and anyone in the field can see also the explosion of data. So we do have a lot of data. Either data coming from a personal information like your Google and everything, like as a personal data, or as well enterprise data. So we do have a lot happening, lots of data spheres. So that explosion on the data and how to use them made that need for example, architects in everything that's big data, data analysis, and stuff like this. In the cloud, everything go as well from 2019 to 2015. Today, in 2025, we do have 75% of the enterprise that they want to go from, for example, a classic infrastructure into more an edge infrastructure. So for the people who don't classic infrastructure, like the servers that's happening in the data centers. So we see more customers or more enterprise that they want to more have like an edge, smaller environment, and then connect it to the public cloud, for example, to reduce their capex investments. And then we see in the hardware, because I come from a hardware company, so I saw a lot of hardware, GPU, CPU requests in the last 2 years. Lots of companies are either refreshing, changing their infrastructure. They are now customers not talking about public cloud only, but they want to private clouds with the model of public clouds. It's either with all the automation, the services, but on premise in their customer, in their locals, or they want it on a financial model, look like a cloud. So the cloud in general is so growing. Just keep in mind, it's not only public, it's public, private, and hybrid. And this year, and at least the last 2 years, we hear a lot about AI. And there is this explosion of AI. I do have more stats about it, but we do have, for example, around 25% around the AI customers that are coming. They are interested of having paid POCs. A lot of them go into the production, like, and stepping into the production with the right architecture and with the right scaling. So many of them don't know exactly what they are doing, and they fail and they flee the AI for good. So it's now in 2025, 2024, we are taking the AI from a trend to a reality. So these two fields right now, they are like presenting the biggest opportunities for women, but like for everyone to go, to come in, to invest, to try looking from the inside, and to come in into this field, not to be afraid of jumping in at all. So the opportunity is there. So let's talk why women actually in those fields. Why we need to see more women in those fields. I put actually 3 points over here why women needed to be. It's actually to the diversity of the team. Like we heard it a lot. This is like the more classical way. It's like we want teams where we see more women in it. It's a diversity thing. But this is the old way of thinking. It's not just because having a woman or it's cool. It's because the women bring an actual another view, especially in the tech conversation, in those architectural, really nerdy workshops. In general, when we start like really thinking, this is a very classic women way of thinking, it's the first thing is who is missing in the room? In general, not women like or men do not think about it. Who's missing? What we are not saying. So this way of thinking about holistic way, the women can bring a new view, make this diversity very, very important. As well, thinking about not only infrastructure, but for example, application way, new use cases, new way of development, new way of like making the life easier. So the diversity is not only a stat, like some companies made women think for a long time that we are hiring you just to make a diversity stat. It's an actually point of view and a way of thinking that can bring more to the actual team. So the second thing, it's the inclusive design. So that's what we are talking, make it more innovative, not only in IT, but also in like everyday a share, for example, like design it or architect a house that it's different for women, that it make it easier for kids or for smaller. The women bring always that innovation way of thinking that can be different. It's really good. It's have it in men as well, but there's as well that push of what it's missing, what can we make it better, how this one we can make it more inclusive. Okay? So we do have that empathy a lot when women are in the design or in the architecture of something. And for now, we're still missing. Like stats are saying us that only 25% of technical people are women. Like representation is very low in technical environments. And 32 in the management and high tech. So even when they get in, they are very, not going into the extra levels. And that's because of a lot of fears, also a lot of, social stuff as well. So we got busy with the kids or with something else. But the most important thing is the technical architecture or the technical field is not that hard. It's not that difficult. And it's not specified to a type of people. And even for men, some men are very afraid to get in a very nerdy. So it's not a very nerdy thing. Once we get in, there's lots of challenges, there's lots of good things to get into, and that's inclusive, it's very important. So I want to give a parallel because it can help us a lot think about when we do IT architecture, and anyone IT here, I don't know if there's anyone in infra here, when we are doing IT architecture, we do have kinds of rules, okay? So we know that we are designing for redundancy. Designing for redundancy means that I do have 2 or 3 choices. So I have N1 and N2. If something fails, I do have something to replace it. So when we're thinking about that from career perspective is I want to make myself have multiple skill paths. So if I am not good in software architecting, I can go to infra architecting. For example, I'm talking for myself. So I do have multiple, I'm multiplying my skills because I am selling myself as well, okay? So it's very important to have that redundancy even in our career. The second thing, it's the grow with demand, because when I am designing an infrastructure, I'm building to growth, okay? Because any customer grow in the year 2, in the year 3, either from an infra or from an app. You need more memory, more CPU, more GPU, whatever. So even us, when we are building our career, we are growing. We cannot stay in a field and say, that's all. I know this field. I am an expert in that field. You cannot be. Because life, especially technically, moves very, very fast. For example, myself. I started as a developer very early, like 15 years ago. I started as a developer in a HP for a project that's called GreenLake. It's an OpEx project, okay? So from there, I go into the cloud when the cloud became very, very trendy in 2016, 2017. More projects, more stuff. I didn't know anything about it. I jumped in it because it was the need. I needed to keep up. So I just jump in it. Now we are talking about AI. So I'm jumping, I'm learning on the same time. There is now some experts of AI, like they can come and say, I am an expert in AI. Yeah, they pay them millions. They pay them around $400 million a year. So good luck. So everyone is learning. Even like the good experts, like what we call the good experts, are under 500K a year now in France. So we learn, the opportunity is there, go. AI architecture-wise, or application or development, there is the need. Cloud, it's the same thing, there is the need, go for it. The second thing is security, and we do have some security. I know that Sonia with us is security expert. So when we are architecting an infrastructure, we are designing, we design by security built in, the zero trust thing. So we are designing with encryption, we are designing with vaults, stuff like this. Career, it's the same thing, okay? We need to build our integrity. So basically, if I did it dirty in a project, and there is opportunities to do it dirty in some projects, in general, the field, either in Paris or sometimes even around the world, it's too small that your customers or your colleagues gonna be hurting about it and you're gonna lose your integrity. If it's not in that year, it's after. Especially architectural-wise, consultancy-wise, losing your integrity, it's very, very hard. So keep it in mind, not as I am the most integrated person. No, I do have a reputation to keep, and I need more customers in the future, not hearing about mistakes like this, because you can lose customers, okay? Then, architecture-wise, we monitor everything. I build a private cloud, for example, on premise, I need to monitor everything. I do have something on AWS, I'm monitoring all my services for our application friends. So in your career, it's the same thing. I need to have those reflections. We need to have those, like this conversation that we are having right now. Where I am right now, where is the trends are going, where I need to go, okay? It's okay if I don't know it now, I can grow into it. But I need to understand and face it. Because I saw lots of people, and this is in general, they're so happy about 9 to 5, okay? And having 2 hours break, and then it's so cool, and it's paid well, and I have my vacations, and I have my everything. This is very, very nice. But even with that model, you need to think how long that model will take you. 10 years, 15 years, and after that, the same technology that you are expert in it right now, it's outdated. We are all already talking about AI, kicking developers out, which is not fun. So things like this, in the architecture, in security, in anything that it's tech specialist, we need to keep thinking about this. And finally, the last thing is user-centric when we are designing, like we are designing for a user, so we understand our use cases, we understand our customers, we put our diagrams and we build everything. Same thing for your career. I'm driving my career per reason. I'm not driving it just because this company paid that, or I got this one and I didn't get anything else. If I don't have like an actual purpose where I want to grow, where I want to be an expert, where I want to be in my next steps, it's easy to lose control on your career and stay in a comfort zone, for example, for too long. So that's what we are trying to avoid. It's like in the architecture in general, you never stay in a comfort zone, but it's very brain motivating. So you are thinking about how to make a solution better, how to make an application better, how to make an infrastructure better. And it's not only infrastructure or app, there is what it's called enterprise architect, what I am doing. It's you grow into all the ecosystem. So you are connecting your infrastructure to the operational, to the support, how the operations are working with the customer. Are we doing ticket integrations? Are we doing that? So you do have a full ecosystem that you are responsible on with either you or a big team of architects. And it's very stimulating, so it's not a boring job. And it's not that difficult. It's just you have to know some codes and just step in it. So we have opportunities. We do have way of doing it. I didn't want to put all pep talks, to be honest. So after all, we are all technical. So I want to keep some technical info. So here, this is information for more technical architects or people who want to take into the architecture. This is two ways of thinking. It's either I scale too fast. So basically, I grow my infra or I grow my application too fast. I invest. I get pushed by the competitive. I do have that social impact urgency that I need to grow my startup, or I need to grow my application, or I need to grow my career, versus stay controlled. And that's what the architectural have to have. This is like the main quality. The main quality when they hire in big enterprises. This is my own private, like my own experience. For example, I get an offer recently from AWS. AWS, when they hire me and I talked to him, they asked me, do you know the AWS? I told them no, I don't. And they were hiring me for an architect AWS, in AWS. And they were so okay with it. He said, okay, pass all the technical, which is technical in general, in the cloud and stuff like this. If you got it, and you got everything, the technical stuff come on. We're gonna make you in a learning session for 3 months, you're gonna catch up. That's not a problem, okay? It's the same thing. It's not about getting into very fast into one technology or one career path and everything. No, it's take control, manage what you have, and then get into step by step. Like, I'm trying to keep everything that it's way of thinking as an architect of career-wise, like take it from an infrastructure level or an IT level into how to manage your own career. So that's it. The risks that we do have in architecture are very much, like you can make companies lose a lot of money, can get fired for it. But in general, there is frameworks for architecture, TOGAF or something else. So you architect based on like science after all. And then you do have like the most big risks in general that we always watch on for at quality, ethical, and governance. So we make sure that we monitor everything and govern everything, and we are ethical, and then the quality and integration with either the customers or our local people. So it's not, I'm not saying that it's an easy job, but it's a job that it's approachable and it can come in, and it have as risk as any other like developer or any other jobs in IT or even not IT. So this is the main roles when you are an architect. This is the Bible of like an architect should always keep. So you should keep your inventories. So everything that it's discussed, diagrams, not diagrams, conversations, requirements from your customers, use cases, constraints, anything should to be inventory and living document all the time. The risk registry is the most important thing. You keep your risks documented. High, small, everything is documented. And then the decision logs, this is me, but this is like a type of architectural way. Whoever is giving me a decision, or I am given a decision, for example, I'm noting the date for it and who's given that decision, even if it's the customer. Because when we are architecting and we are in production or something, people change the way of thinking, okay? And then the responsibility matrix, it's what I'm doing versus what you're doing or the partner is doing. So this is my four rules, like this is the golden rules to keep it as an architect and like live by it. But even in like career-wise, how to grow, for me this is the same rules. If I want to grow into a new company, a new role, I'm calculating my risks, what I'm losing, what I'm gaining. I'm calculating my requirements, what they want from me, what I should deliver to them, what they are given. And yeah, I honestly think that architectural way of growing, even in IT, equal career way of growing. Okay, so let's talk about like an actual use case. So this is a project where we shift an infrastructure from a CapEx model to an OpEx model. For the people who don't know those models, it's a company who was working and buying their own infrastructure, hardwares and stuff, and hosting their application on it, so like OS application, containers and stuff. But they had not the investments, like, or they didn't get the validation for like the initial investments to buy on and keep this way. So they want to go OpEx. So OpEx, it's paying per month, paying per use, like the cloud, okay? When you are getting a drive or a service from Google and you are paying per month in AWS or in Google, so the same thing. But here for a full project, so a company want to pay hardware, infrastructure, containers, and softwares and everything. So in this challenges that we had, we wanted to pay a consumption model. In the customer data centers, we're gonna give them all the hardwares, we're gonna give them all the licenses. So as a company, we will be buying everything up front, then we will be financing to that company. So we will be working like a public cloud, but inside those customer data center, which is very hard because you need to guarantee a certain level of services, what it's called an SLA. So like a public cloud, the infra or like the services are available to you anytime. The last time AWS lost an availability around their services, a lot of companies, including, I believe, ByteDance and TikTok, went off for like a half day. And it was easy. It was just like their DNS server went down and they hadn't any high availability, the second rule we talk about. So yeah, we wanted to propose the same thing, but in the customer data center. And the customer, for that, they want an auto-scaling. So basically, the customer dreamed of, if I want to scale, if I want to order a new memory or stuff, I want to be able to auto-scale without you deblocking me or without me requiring. So they want a full public model. So the components that we think about it in architecture is how to build that infrastructure that it's in demand, how to have the GPU as demand, and people here who have on working with like high computing or like GPU or even in gaming know that GPU is very hard to get as a hardware thing. So we had to think about that. And then how to have the microservices and everything on the container level scalable. And all of this needs to be monitored. So we don't want this to get down or shut down. Okay? So in the architectural way, how to think about all of this, we follow that 4-line or 4 guides. We list the requirements, constraints, then we start like defining the technical use case and inventory. But we had to think also about the human side. And this is, again, this is not software architecture, this is enterprise architecting. You have to think about everything, okay? So we go into how we will be monitoring, how we will be communicating to the different parties, okay? How we will be building the governance, like how those 3 companies or 4 companies, because in general project like this, it's not one company, how they will be interacting with each other, who will be controlling, where the project management is going to be monitoring L1 here or L2, 3, so all the governance around the projects. And then how to collect and make sure that the customer understands the project. So when we give them the solution, and it's in general a platform to consume from it, so we need to train them on how to use it. So that's the human side of the project. And as an architect, we need to think about it, we need to build it. So it's not just the techie part of it, not the software part of it. And after, this is took us from pre-sales, and by the way, project like this, we build the design for it in the pre-sales, not even after the buy, before the buy. And this project, it's around $72 million. And we closed it from pre-sales level of sales cycle until the production ready. It took us 8 months. And in the results, what we got 40% less reduction in spending from the customer, because before that he had a public cloud, he was in GCP. And then he have the predictability, so through the platform he can see exactly how much he's consuming, not only from a VM or a container like as GCP saying, but also from a hardware perspective. So he can see also his hardware, how much he's consuming. So he have the full view, you don't have those surprises that anyone work here in the public cloud know that when we are using services or there is like, they just forget that the service is there and the money keep. So no surprises from money-wise. And then there was like more performance improvements. So it was when they were happy about everything. So the scaling, when the spike is there, it was automatic. And when the spike end, the hardware basically, or like the VMs that are not used, they get shut down and closed. And because we had the high availability, the applications and what it's REST container stuff, they rediffuse themselves on the own hardware. So I'm just explaining this ticket stuff. Okay, so impact from human side, we reduce the times, so the customer is not touching the infra, he's not touching the app, he's not touching containers, so they're focused on the business. And they can grow their opportunities, so their people are focusing on the business, made them basically think about new things, like repurpose their manpower into new things. And strategically wise, now they have like a better infrastructure, because when something is go down, it's our responsibility as as a cloud provider to replace it. So they live as a strategical like board and everything. They are not investing in the beginning as a capex. So now they are paying whatever they use, and they are not worrying about manpower or hiring new people, stuff like this. So the board is more happy. So that's just an example about the architectural in IT and how enterprise architects can be. So it's not like just limited to some fields, it can be very a broad field. So in the end, the key takeaways that I want to keep in everyone, this is like the scaling and how to scale and the techie stuff, which is everyone here know and easy to get, but I want us all to remember that the architecture is not just the technical infra or the software architecture or the nerdy stuff. True architecture is architecting the future and how the future should look like, okay? And anyone can do it. Just if you are expert in something, mentor other people. If you are good in something, advocate and help other people to bring in and to come into those fields. And like everyone can grow together. So it's not something that we should keep. We should all learn and grow together in those kind of fields. Yeah, that's all for me. So if you do have any questions, I'm here before I hand the mic.